Welcome back to Off the Monster. My name is Derek. I'm here with Mr. Brown and Mr. Taylor. The Red Sox season is done, over. We don't want to talk about it anymore. It's why you haven't heard from us. We've talked about it enough over the past however many weeks or whatever. Like, we're done talking about it. Let's move on to the postseason though. The wild card round did happen. We'll do a quick little recap on that. Then we'll focus on the division round where we have some fun matchups. First off, the wild card round, we had the Cardinals. I should start with the American League. We had the Guardians at home against the Rays. We had at home was the oh my gosh, I'm drawing the Blue Jays against the Seattle Mariners, wearing the Mariners hat. Then in the National League, the Cardinals were at home against the Phillies, and then the Mets were at home against the Padres. Anyone have a big story for this series? A big headline for these series?
I don't know if headline's the right word, but I would say the big money market team, Dombrowski with Philadelphia. They have not performed up to the standard, and they won a series, and they're on to Atlanta, and we'll see what we'll see.
Yeah, that's a team that they spent money like crazy. The Schwarber contract's looking all right. The Castellanos one is not looking good at all. 5 years, 100 million. He has not been good. But they got the job done. It was mainly their pitching. Wheeler and Nola at as your 1-2. That's as solid as a 1-2 you'll find. For the most part, a couple other teams might have a better 1-2, but they're right up there. Obviously, Mr. Taylor, the both of us, the Cardinals were our NL team, so it's sad to see them go. What are your thoughts on this series?
I'm surprised the Phillies have done as they have. Dave Dombrowski spent a lot of money in the offseason, picked up some really good free agents. I think with them letting go of Girardi, I think a lot of baseball pundits thought maybe the team would lose a little bit of direction and kind of thought maybe the second half would be more of a reorganization of the organization. But they proved everybody wrong and beat a really strong team in the Cardinals. We wanted to see the Cardinals go farther. I wanted to see Albert Pujols continue, Yadier Molina continue. But I'm happy for Dave Dombrowski. I liked Dave when he was with the Red Sox. I didn't like the way the Red Sox let him go, but he seems to be doing some good things in Philadelphia. And they haven't won a World Series since 2008. Haven't made an appearance since 2009. So hopefully they'll have a good run moving forward. I mean, I'm still pulling for the Padres out of the NL, and I'm definitely pulling for the Mariners / Guardians out of the AL. And I am absolutely ecstatic that the Blue Jays and the Rays did not make it. I thought it was really ironic. I saw a tweet the other day from Boston Strong 34, and they were talking about how lousy we did against the Rays and the Blue Jays, but yep, we had such a really good record against the Mariners, and then the Mariners wind up coming in and taking and running roughshod. I thought that was really cool. So I'm interested to see how this next round goes. I'm still pulling for Donnie O's Padres, and I'm a little torn between the Guardians because of Tito. But I really want the M's to make it, man. I think they got a good young club. I like that kid, Rodriguez, their center fielder. I think he's exciting to watch, and I think it's going to be a good couple series. We saw some really good baseball this first round.
I would say the good and the bad that came out of this is pitching, both aspects. The bad is I was shocked with the Mets. I just utterly shocked, other than DeGrom pitching the way DeGrom pitches. But even he gave up some bombs. And it was just shocking. I overuse the word shocking that the Mets underperformed. And maybe it's San Diego. You guys are on the San Diego bandwagon. I'm not, obviously. But they definitely, the cream rose to the top. Musgrove had a fantastic outing last night, even though he didn't have anything on his body that were altering the pitching.
He got a wet willy in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Hey, that was ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, maybe it was the snot ball or something.
I mean, the year was definitely shiny. That is for sure. I mean,
there is actually on Twitter someone posted a picture of a bunch of his different starts over the last couple months. His ears are shiny in all of them, so it wasn't a one-time thing.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of bush league by Showalter to do that. I really do. especially in that environment. I just don't think someone's going to be that brazen.
Yeah,
But
the playoffs, it's definitely Bush League, like you said.
Well, they check the
and
guy's hands after like
Unless
every
you see
inning or
the
so.
pine tar just glowing off of somebody's
Pineda.
neck.
yeah, that's a little different. But
That's
to use
different.
your word, shock. I was absolutely shocked by Max Scherzer just getting decimated. I mean, I've never seen Scherzer get lit up like that before. I think he gave up what 7 earned total, if
Yeah,
that,
7.
and what 4 home runs,
Yep,
something
4
insane like
bombs.
that.
4 bombs, 7 runs. The homers were Josh Bell, Trent Grisham, Jerkson Profar, and Manny Machado.
Didn't Grissom hit 2?
Yeah, hit one off DeGrom as well.
Yeah, somebody he is obviously somebody on the Mets pissed off that dude because he made a hell of a catch in center field too, man.
And that was after he got hit by a pitch, I think.
Yeah, they definitely pissed him off. But I was shocked that the Mets folded the way they did. I think they had as high as a 10.5 game lead at one point over the Braves and just collapsed tremendously. It just goes to show you can spend all the money in the world, but it's nothing when you get to the playoffs and you get hot at any moment in the playoffs. You can run roughshod, man, and really make some noise. And I think the Padres made a statement. I think they really made a statement. And I think it's going to be interesting this next round how they match up against the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers. I want the Padres to beat the ever-loving shit out of the Dodgers. But I really am surprised. Even DeGrom seemed to be touched up a little bit. You know, he's throwing 102, but they seem to have his timing down.
That velocity dropped into the outing. That velocity definitely dropped.
It did, and I knew Game 3 the Padres were going to win. You could just tell that the crowd was deflated when they brought in Edwin Diaz in the
7th inning, the 7th inning of Game 2, the 8th inning of Game 3.
They blared his trumpet entry or his music, and it just did not have this. It fell flat, man. It fell flat, and I felt bad for him. I really did.
That might be his last game as a Met.
I think so. I don't think he's going to be Red Sox.
No, I don't see the Edwin Diaz trumpet music going in New York. It doesn't seem like a Boston thing. I'm
not saying he's going to the Red Sox. I'm just saying it might be his last game.
I just don't see that played off. Yeah. But like you said, the money being spent going into the next round, I don't think Philadelphia has. I think their Cinderella story is 1-0. I don't think they have what it takes to go up against Atlanta. Especially
that Atlanta team is crazy.
Yeah, Atlanta's got home field. That's the only team that went to the next round that wasn't overwhelmed by their pitching. Was Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And they did it with their hitting.
But the Cardinals' pitching isn't like anything to go crazy about, though. That's the thing. Like the Cardinals, it was like a collection of guys that got the job done, and then it was the back end of that pen with Gallegos and Helsley. But Helsley got a finger injury near the end of the year, and I'm guessing that probably affected him in Game 1. Maybe, but that would be that's what I would think, considering the fact that we know he had a finger injury of some sort, and there was a little bit of debate of is he going to be on the wild card roster. So, but I think
but that's what I'm saying. Coming out of that first round, on paper, you looked at Philadelphia and St. Louis and said St. Louis is on paper they're the favorite, obviously, but after the first round is completed, you looked at it, and Philadelphia by far had the easiest round of all 4. Seattle played up against some tremendous pitching. In my mind, Toronto has great pitching. They're going to be there for years, unfortunately. I hate to say that as a Red Sox fan, and they let them up. They're scary good.
I mean, they were up 8-1 at one point.
Oh my God, Mariners. They're up 8-1, 8-1.
And I kind of tuned a bit. I don't remember exactly what I was doing, and then the next thing I know, it's 8-8, and the next thing I know, it's 9-8. I'm like, I missed one of the greatest comebacks in the history of baseball, and don't even have any real recollection of what the hell I did. I know I wasn't drinking. I don't even have that excuse for it. But the Mariners, I think, are going to ride this, and I think that they're going to take it to the Astros. I really think that they're going to surprise the hell out of the Astros. I think the New York Yankees are going to fizzle out. I thought it was hilarious that Chapman got left off the
He was going to be left
roster.
off anyways, but he just gave them an extra reason to leave him off. Like, they were going to leave him off the roster anyways, and then he was just like, if you just in the 1% chance you were going to put me in this roster, let's get that out of here. Here's that last reason.
Do you really think Cleveland's going to go into the Yankee Stadium? I feel like Cleveland with the Yankees, they just can't. They have a problem like Minnesota Twins. They just can't beat the Yankees. I'd love to see them beat the Yankees.
Their pitching lines up good with the Yankees because they don't. The Yankees are going to go Garrett Cole in game 1, and Cleveland's going to go Savali. But then game 2, Shane Bieber, Nestor Cortez. I like Cleveland's on the pitching side of things. And game 3, Tristan McKenzie and Luis Severino. I like Cleveland again there. And all Cleveland's got to do is get to the back end of their bullpen with a lead, and it's game over.
Yeah, from a hitting aspect, I like Cleveland. They're pure hitters on that team compared to you have to, and you can't count on this when it turns the calendar to fall. It starts getting cold. You can't count on the long ball as much. If the ball doesn't fly as easy as it did in those warm summer months. So the Yankees are all or nothing team where Cleveland could put the bat on the ball on a regular basis.
Cleveland can set up the long ball. The Yankees need the long ball to score runs. Cleveland can set up the key long ball. That's the difference.
That's what I'm saying.
In the playoffs, it's always a home run in the playoffs that is the most of the offense. But it's the teams that can set up the home run. You're not just a team that just hits solo shots isn't going to do anything. But you gotta draw a walk, you get a base hit, then you hit a 3-run bomb, or get a couple walks and get a couple guys on base, get bases loaded, boom, double in the gap, 3 runs. You're not gonna see a train of 7, 8, 9 hits in the playoffs scoring 6 or 7 runs. It's gonna be one hit's gonna score 2, another hit's gonna score 3, another hit's gonna score 2, and that's how you're gonna get your runs. Look at the Mariners and Blue Jays game. How many times in that game where there's just our little RBI single? Like, there's not much of that in the playoffs because the pitching's so good. You gotta set yourself up to hit on their mistakes, and Cleveland can do that. They get a couple guys on, and Jose Ramirez is up. He changes one swing of the bat, boom, that's the game right there. We saw it in game 1. The Rays go ahead, Jose Siri solo shot. Okay, so what? Cleveland gets a guy on base, Jose Ramirez, boom, 2-run homer. That's the game. Cleveland can set up those big run scoring at bats, where I do have worry that the Yankees have to rely on the solo shots, and that's a problem. I do want to go back to the Mets though for half a second. To say the Mets collapsed is a little bit misleading because they still won 101 games and they were still very good the second half. I think more of the credit should go to the Braves and the ridiculous, like from June on, that the Braves had, because the Braves in their last 100 games won 75, if not more. Like, the Braves were ridiculous down the stretch.
I guess maybe collapse is the wrong word to use, but you figure what they had on the line with the kind of money that
100%.
And for them not to walk away with the division title, I think is a shock to the New York fan base. I really think that they thought they had it in the bag, and I did too. I really did. But you really can't count out the Braves. They're a good team. They're the defending world champions for a reason. I'm just hopeful that we have a Cleveland versus Seattle ALCS, and Padres will win the
Braves.
And it's good for baseball. I'm tired of seeing the Dodgers. I literally hate that franchise with every ounce of my being. I really, truly do. The Yankees can go F themselves. I hate the Yankees with every ounce of my being. But the Astros, I wished they would have been wiped out with Hurricane Harvey when it hit Houston several years ago. And that's as a tech. I was so pissed when they had the Houston Strong patch. They stole that from the Red Sox.
Every city does that, though.
Every city.
We
had
city.
I hate to say strong. We had Boston Strong because that's such a bad,
like Vegas
or bad reference.
The Vegas Golden Knights
we didn't make up that saying on obviously a good thing, the Boston Marathon bombing. But every city has it. It's like, Vegas, a couple horses died in the backyard. Horse strong. It's gotten out of hand.
It's every city does that. It's like, when Vegas had the thing, was Vegas strong, Houston strong, or I don't know, other cities. Like, I'll just name some random cities like St. Louis strong, LA strong, I don't know, Washington D.C. I don't know, just like random, like it's all gonna be.
When those kids had that horrible hockey accident, and I can't remember the town in Canada, they did the same thing. I'll just say it was like Calgary strong. I'm like, man, can't even keep it in the United States.
No, I'm sorry, it's a Boston only thing.
Yeah,
that was
but
it.
what I'm hearing is that
we got the Ortiz.
We have a consensus. It sounds like we have a consensus going in to the championship round.
We got the Astros and Dodgers
picking Atlanta. We're all picking Seattle. We're all picking Cleveland. And we're all picking. I guess I'm on the bandwagon.
The Padres. To be fair, it's not you want the Padres to win. Yeah, it's not you want the Padres to win. It's you want the Dodgers to lose, and it just so happens the Padres are playing them.
Yeah, I want Musgrove to succeed now after seeing what the Mets did only last night.
Yeah.
I didn't think they had that strong of pitching, and I don't know if Musgrove can be that consistent throughout the playoffs, but
I think you can.
It definitely takes San Diego to that next level that I didn't think they had in them, because they struggled once that Soto deal went into place.
He struggled. He didn't quite take off like I thought he would, and I think that kid thought the Nationals weren't going to trade him. I think he was surprised that he got traded, to be honest with you. And in a new environment, he just did not thrive the way I think he wanted and what the Padres expected. But he came up big yesterday with 2 RBIs. So, laugh goes to him. But it
wasn't just him that struggled. It was that after the whole Tatis thing, it's like the whole team struggled.
Yeah. So I've not been paying attention. Is Tatis out for the remainder of the year?
Out for this year, and I think he's going to miss the first 25 to 30 games of next year.
Yeah. And that's sad because the kid will get a ring and doesn't deserve it.
No, he won't. I don't think he'll get a ring.
Oh, really? Because
he'll get a ring because
they'll give him one. They'll give him one, but he doesn't get I don't think he'll be credited as a World Series champion. He'll get a physical ring. No, I don't think he will.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Because someone who plays in AAA.
It's not like it's a Stanley Cup trophy where they're describing only the players who are on that dress for that. But Garcia Parra got a ring, right?
He'll get a physical ring from the Padres. I don't think he'll be considered a World Series champion if they win.
It's very similar to Atlanta last year when they lost Acuna, and they still won. So
Acuna got lost to a legitimate injury.
No, I don't.
That's
say
stupid.
that.
Tatis had a stupid motorcycle accident and then got popped for whatever the heck it's called.
And then he got popped. He got popped for steroids, and he tried to blame it on ringworm. Because I'm like, dude, the steroid you're taking is not the right steroid for the ringworm.
Stop licking your cat's butt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm rooting for teams that I can find a Red Sox connection. Don Orsillo for the Padres, Tito Francona.
I hope he gets to telecast some national games. I really do.
Oh, I hope so too, man. I miss Donnie O. Yeah. Especially after losing Eck this year too. Boston Strong posted a picture of Don Orsillo, Dennis Eckersley, and Jeremy Rennie. And I about lost it when I saw it, dude. I was like, we got OB coming back next year. Don't know who else is going to be in the booth with him. I'm thinking Uke and maybe Middlebrooks.
God, I hope not Uke. Uke is awful.
Oh no, they're gonna have Maserati in there. He's awful.
Don't. He's worse than Euclid is.
I don't think Euclid is that bad. I just think Euclid isn't used to it.
Yeah, Euclid was not as bad as Maserati. That dude literally made me want to turn the game off.
He makes my ears bleed.
Yes, he's got a face for radio too.
He's got a face that you want to put on a punching bag.
I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to find that New England accent, trying to replace what Remy brought to the broadcast, and it failed miserably.
But you want a New England accent?
He's like that guy, that commercial. Yeah, cousin from Boston. He's that annoying.
Yeah, exactly. Too prodigious of an accent.
If they wanted a Boston person, like this is 100% honest, if they wanted a Boston person, get Carabas.
Oh,
as many as people that hate him, he would win over most of the fan base.
He's got a great voice.
He'd be a better option than Maserati, but he said he doesn't want to do that though.
He's already on Ness and he's doing a show on Nesson Plus, and he's killing it up there. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. In fact,
Can we get Dennis Leary?
That'd be cool.
What they need to do though, it's gonna end up being Brock Holt in a couple years. Middlebrooks, I think, will be involved in some capacity, whether that's broadcast or pre and post game. They're gonna have Euclid will be somewhat involved, but not really because he lives on the West Coast and he's got his whole brewery thing, whatever, going on.
Did Pedroia ever throw his hat in the ring, or
no?
Is he okay?
He's
I heard
doing
good things about Brock Holt, though. I never got to listen to any of his time when he was on the air, but I heard he did fairly well.
He sounded really good. He really truly did. Middlebrooks is kind of benign in how he sounds. Not good, not bad. Just
it's new, but it's also new to him though too. I think some of the guys that are new, I think the more they grow, the only better they'll get. So if they're not bad at the start, there's only room to grow for those guys. Like a Brock
Holt is a natural talker.
Yeah,
he just naturally talks about anything.
And I think we were spoiled for so long to have someone like Remy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Remy and Orsillo. That was heaven on earth.
And we got used to Eckisms. In fact, there is I just talked to him the other day via Twitter, guy that runs an account called the Eckery, a dictionary of all the different things that Dennis Eckersley. Yeah, the Ectionary. He hung it up though now that X done. So no more Ectionary.
Which is unfortunate.
That is unfortunate because I enjoyed it every game that they broadcast. But I think that the booth is going to be one spot that I think that Nesson really needs to work on, just like Heim Bloom and BOH need to work on the roster for the 2023 Sox. But for right now, we've got playoff baseball, and hopefully it'll continue to be good.
Hey, I'd rather have a bad team with a good broadcasting crew than a half-decent team with a terrible broadcasting crew.
I agree.
We live with some. It felt like Biden was up there. Remember when Bob Montgomery used to do the telecast? I mean, talk about some old timers up in the booth.
They need to find what they think can be the next broadcast booth for the next 10, 15 years.
It's got to be.
I think it starts with getting O'Brien out, get rid of Maserati, get rid of all those guys, get Mike Monaco to do full time, and then find your mix of guys, whether it includes Euclid, Holt, Middlebrooks, all those kind of younger guys that are somewhat recently retired. Roll with it, let it go. If they make mistakes, they make mistakes, but no one wants to hear O'Brien. He you say people have the face of radio. He's got the voice of radio. He doesn't he's not made for TV broadcasts. He's not. He's not made for it. He's made for radio.
I personally like OB. I
don't think he's bad, but I think that considering the fact that everyone wants to move on from him because he gets compared to Orsillo, which is unfair. It's unfair. Yeah. But also too, how long is OB gonna be around? He's not a spring chicken, And if they are gonna bring some of the kind of younger guys in as kind of the color commentator, why not get a younger guy like a Mike Monaco to do the play-by-play?
Yeah,
I think it would gel a lot better.
I'm just like the 2023 Red Sox roster. I'm interested to see what Nesson's gonna do. Because I watched all 162 plus games. I even watched. I think I don't know the exact number. I would venture to say I saw at least 15 spring training games on Nesson too. So I'm definitely vested in who they're going to have broadcasting next year for sure.
Yeah,
but
at least Jemai Webster is good. At least we got Jemai. At least we got him. At least we got him. That's at least there's
the thing about OB that drives me nuts. He's a beggar. You have these broadcasters just beg. Oh, he's due. You didn't mind Eckersley. Time to party. He's gonna go yard. Things like that. But OB, it's every single time. It's he's 2 for 4 and he's on a hot streak now. Or he hasn't hit a home run in 2 days. He is due. I think he's getting a home run. He really needs to hit a home run. He
forces it because he's one of these times I'm gonna get it right. It's dude,
yeah, exactly. Enough. Just stay within the lines. Pretend like you're on radio.
At least he's not giving screwed up statistics and information like Bob Nightingale. He's not that bad.
Boob.
He's not making shit up.
To be fair, like the thing is though too, like I feel like with like if you're the Red Sox, you're saying no, we need younger people in there. We need to connect to the younger audience. And like put it like that, like if you're asking like me, someone, I'm not like I'm part of that younger audience. Would you rather me listen to a game with guys like Mike Monaco and Will Middlebrooks, or you want me to listen to a game with O'Brien, Maserati, and the old heads, like the old guys? Like, give me Monaco and Middlebrooks and Hull and even Euclid. Like, give me those guys, right? And I think the target audience for Red Sox teams is going to be the younger audience. Why? Because the older audience is not going to get older people to just come watch baseball out of nowhere, and the older people normally aren't going to just leave. The younger audience is the audience that they can potentially bring in, and they need a broadcast crew is a big part of that. But like I've gone and watched like Padres game. That's kind of why I'm on the Padres bandwagon this offseason, because like there are times after the Red Sox game, I'll go watch the Padres game. Don Arcilo's doing it, and
you need a player. You need an ex-player, and I hate to say it, not for the lack. You don't get the player because he's a player. You need a player with some charisma, some personality, because you do want to hear stories about going late nights or your trip in Baltimore and San Diego and this happened and Pedroia did this or Martinez did this. You want to hear those stories when it's 16-4 and you're either kicking somebody's butt or you're getting your butt kicked, which is more unlikely. But I don't know how we took this right turn.
We started talking about Orsillo and then whatever. Hey, that's
we all thought, okay, it's going to be San Diego and Atlanta, and happy times are here again. We'll be able to hear Don Arcillo.
He won't be doing the Padres games.
The only way he's going to do it it can't be an ESPN game, which hopefully those are few and far between. Fox, I believe, still has the championship series and the World Series. So
I think so.
He might get
no Joe Buck this year.
Yeah.
To be fair, the only thing about Joe Buck is that everything feels like a big moment when Joe Buck is doing it. Like, I don't like Joe Buck, but it's like when Joe Buck's doing a game, you're like, oh yeah, this means something. Joe Buck's announcing it.
Yeah, he had the voice for it. He really did. I didn't mind Joe Buck at all, and I'm interested to see who they're going to have do it this year.
Well, we played St. Louis in the World Series twice, and he was nothing but a homer both times, which I completely get because his dad, who was 10 times the broadcaster that he ever was, because he wasn't, he didn't overdo it. He called the game like it's supposed to be called. And his dad was with the same, his family was around the St. Louis Cardinals for years.
That's the thing. There's nothing special about Joe Buck, but there's nothing wrong with Joe Buck at the same time. If you want someone that's not going to do anything wrong, but they might not be special, that's Joe Buck. He's going to call the game how you would want someone to call the game if you had to go by a playbook. That's Joe Buck for you. But, like, I think ESPN, though, did what besides Michael Kay and A-Rod. Besides Michael Kay and A-Rod, they got all the broadcast crews pretty well. Besides, especially, I love having the Cleveland Rays group with Sciambi on it, and I forget the other guy. But, like, that was a good broadcast group. That one really stood out to me. But, like, besides the Michael Kay thing, which... Like, they're just trying to force feed Michael Kay and A-Rod down our throats.
Yeah, I can't stand A-Rod on the field and definitely not broadcasting. It's like needles going through my head every time I hear him on the mic. He really is. Oh my!
Michael Kay, when he called Juan Yepez's pinch hit home run, I felt like I was watching a Yankees game.
Yeah, being in hell would have your life reviewed by Joe Buck. Who was the...
No, Michael Kay and John Sterling.
No. Well, does John Sterling do the radio?
Yeah,
no.
For the Yankees.
Yeah, he's extremely over the top. So Joe Buck, Tony Romo, and John Sterling. I don't think Romo's
bad.
Oh, Romo's awful.
I don't think he's bad.
He's disgustingly bad. And for them to ever give him the opportunity to broadcast any Cowboy games.
Okay, the Cowboy games are bad, but the non-Cowboy games, I'm fine with.
He's just a fan. He's like a cheerleader up in the. I don't
to be
want
fair,
that.
though, it feels that I remember the Patriots-Chiefs game, the AFC Championship, the whole like third and fourth quarter. Tony Romo before every play, they're running this play, boom, on the dot. Running this play, boom, got it. And it was like every single play, you just knew what they were running the whole play.
I like him a little bit more when he's not broadcasting Dallas games.
Yeah, 100%.
And the first year he did it, I thought he was phenomenal because he was a breath of fresh air. He was a fan, but he played. And he just had a different aspect of the game. Yeah, there's been a lot of guys who went into the booth. Brady will eventually go into the booth. But he had such a fan mentality of the game where he loved the game and he got carried away with his, I don't know, he overreacted a lot to some of the plays, which was kind of fun because that's what you're doing on the couch or in your recliner on Sundays. You're sitting there yelling at the screen, overacting like Drew Romo is.
Yeah. I think, though, him and Jim Nantz complement each other well. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Michael K and A-Rod are just like two guys trying to stab you.
Yeah.
It's like two guys trying to stab you. It just doesn't work.
How did we get on the NFL?
Well, we started talking about Orsillo. Then we started talking
yeah.
about the Red Sox broadcasters, and we talked about baseball broadcasters in general.
There is an S on that hat. Do you get any stats and chat to put us back in order?
Yeah. So then they will be banning the shift this okay. I don't like using the term ban the shift, first of all. Let me start with that. Because they can still play their shortstop or second baseman essentially behind second base. They can still play them up the middle. They're limiting the shift. They're not banning it. They're just limiting it. And they will still be able to use 5-man infields, actually. People thought they wouldn't be able to do that. They will still be able to use a 5-man infield if they want to in certain situations. However, that will be very rare because it's very rare in the first place anyways. Now, since it's the last year of the shift, it's the last year we're going to get numbers of how players hit against the shift, and when they were shifted against, and how they hit when they weren't shifted against. The best batter, I'm using weighted on base, the highest weighted on base against the shift, when teams shifted on them, the highest weighted on base with a player over like a decent amount of plate attempts is Aaron Judge. In 333 plate appearances where he was shifted against, he had a 470 weighted on base, and then the guy who had the highest weighted on base when he wasn't shifted against, once again, was Aaron Judge. 344 plate appearances, a 447 weighted on base. Judge was pretty much amazing whether you shifted against him or not. But that's not why that's one kind of cool stat. But the big stat is there was one player in the MLB this year that had over 500 plate appearances. Actually, there's multiple, but there's one that really sticks out that had over 500 plate appearances and was never shifted against once. Does anyone want to take a guess?
He was never in 500 plate appearances, was not shifted once?
There's two guys that I have. Actually, no, three guys. I have three guys. Yeah, three guys. Okay. One is on the Yankees, one is on the Guardians, and one is on the Blue Jays.
I can't think of a single player that didn't do some type of defensive shift. I have no clue.
No, Bichette was shifted against one time in 697 plate appearances.
George Springer?
Nope. He was traded mid-season to the Blue Jays.
Traded mid. Is Siri on the Blue Jays?
No, he's on Tampa. And
JBJ.
No.
No, he was shifted against a lot.
And he wasn't traded there.
Who is it, Stats?
So I'll go in order of plate appearances from lowest to highest. With 539 plate appearances never shifted against was DJ LeMahieu.
Wow.
In 550 plate appearances not shifted against was Whit Merrifield. And in 596 plate appearances not shifted against at all this year, Miles Straw of the Cleveland Guardians.
Jesus. I'm glad the shift is going away. I hate it. I absolutely hate the shift. I know we talked about, at least I think we talked about it, or I talked about it with someone. I saw a photo of a shift on Ted Williams. So they were doing defensive shifts back in the 30s and 40s. But I'm glad for the new rule. I want to see the metrics set up the way that the game was designed. That there's a reason why everything was planned out the way that it is. And I want to think about how many hits were taken away from Poppy, with the shift. I lost count the number of times it would have been a solid single to right field. And, there's a second baseman halfway between the infield and the right fielder. So I'm glad that stuff's going away. I find it hard to believe there's 3 players that weren't shifted on hardly at all, if at all.
And over 500 plate appearances.
That's insane in today's age with the way. I mean, you almost expect the shift on every single player because of the analytics that they have. So to have 3, that's amazing. That's actually a fun stat.
Well, I need to know who was the one time that Bo Bichette was shifted on in 697 plate appearances. You got shifted on one time.
I guarantee it was the Angels and Madden before he was about booted.
No, it's probably the Rays.
The Rays, Angels, or the Yankees.
Yeah. All right. So now moving on to the second part of the stats and chats. That was the players who were the least shifted against. The players who were the most shifted against percentage-wise, who had over 300 plate appearances. I'll give you the top 5. I'll start with the guys who. I'll start from the bottom and go to the top. So from 5 all the way to the highest shift rate against. Number 5 of over 300 plate appearances being shifted against. Cole Calhoun had 423 plate appearances, was shifted against 395 times, a 93.4% clip. Rougned Odor in 467 plate appearances was shifted against 438 times, or 93.8% of the time. Jose Ramirez, when hitting from the left side, he's a switch hitter, but when hitting from the left side in 494 plate appearances was shifted against 464 times, or 93.9% of the time. Cal Raleigh, another switch hitter, but batting from the left side, was shifted in 315 plate appearances, was shifted against 303 times, or 96.2% of the time. And then the guy to top it off, Carlos Santana, when hitting from the left side, obviously he's a switch hitter, but when hitting from the left side in 362 plate appearances, he was shifted against 356 times, 98.3% of the time. Carlos Santana was shifted against as a left-handed hitter.
Good Lord. I can't wait for that stat to go away next year.
And then the guy who was shifted against the most amount of plate appearances, I'll just cover the top 3. Shohei Ohtani was shifted against 576 times. Kyle Schwarber 602 times. And Corey Seager was shifted against 607 times.
Jesus Christ.
Or 607 plate appearances he was shifted against.
Jesus Christ, man.
I hope Schwarber hits about 10 home runs against Atlanta just so he can stick at the Chaim Bloom one more time.
Yeah, exactly. Between Renfroe and Schwarber, they hit over 70 home runs. I don't think
I wasn't going to do much.
70, but probably 50.
I think they would have kept Schwarber had JD not
Schwarber
stuck, but whatever.
Didn't Schwarber have 40 something by himself?
Yeah, he had 46 this year.
And I think Renfroe had to be in mid-20s.
Yeah,
so they're close.
He was mid-20s. Yeah. Well, the thing with Schwarber though is I think if JD declines his player option, they let him walk and bring back Schwarber. But it's just like it's so Red Sox and so like of the post-Dombrowski problems where it's like, oh yeah, JD's gonna opt into this player option and now we can't re-sign Schwarber. Not that we could have, but like it would have been a nightmare for 2022 defensively.
Schwarber was never going to be re-signed by Sox, not for the kind of money that he got.
I think if JD leaves, I think they would have made a run at him.
They would have made an offer, but it wouldn't have been nowhere near what the Phillies did.
And JD made like $20 million this year. The Phillies offered 4 for like 84, I think.
Yeah,
they would have been if they offered him 4 years for $80 million, which is pretty much what the Phillies offered. That's you're just essentially replacing JD's $20 million a year.
I'm calling it now. JD's coming back to the Red Sox next year.
Oh,
No.
my deal, Tom.
No.
I was just going to ask you that question because I tried to watch games, with the amazing suite they had last week. But
No.
they had horrible weather, which I felt bad. I felt bad for Eckersley because I don't feel like he got the exit that he deserved with the horrible weather that they had the last couple games and the turnout that they had for those games where they maybe drew like 10,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
But did they give JB or Martinez a hand or take
Yeah,
him out?
Yeah, then I think it was the bottom of the 8th. He went up to bat. They sent him up to bat and then called time and took him off and let him get a standing ovation.
I know they did I did catch it when they did it for Bogaerts.
Yeah, it's hard to do it for JD though because he was the DH. It would have really been full circle though if they would have been able to play him in left field for his last game.
That's what I thought they should have done.
But you can't put him in left. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, you could put him in left for one out.
Yeah. Well, what they should have done is they should have kept them in for the top until the top of the ninth, and the top of the ninth, then move him to left field from the DH spot.
And then immediately pull him.
Yeah, let him run out there, let him run out there, throw a pitch, and then take him off.
Yeah. I don't know. I said 2 for 20 the other day to someone, and who are you gonna put at DH next year?
Figure it out. Actually, my thing has been the rotation with Christian Arroyo. That's what I've been saying.
He's gonna be playing shortstop. He's gonna be playing shortstop because Bogey's gonna be with the Phillies.
If Bogey goes to the Phillies, they're either gonna get Correa, Turner, or Swanson. So
if they bring Correa to Boston,
to be fair, Cora and Correa are very close.
Yeah, but he's a cheater.
Okay,
yeah, and he's going to want $300 million for sure.
I guess
but if Bogaerts gets $300 million, I do think they'll figure out how the shortstop spot figured out. Arroyo won't be playing shortstop. I don't think they want him playing shortstop. The worst case scenario is they're going to get a stopgap shortstop.
We can spend the rest of the night talking about bench warmers, but hopefully this week goes by. We see what we talked about coming playing out in front of our eyes, and we'll see what happens.
Hold on before we end this though? But does any of us actually think the Guardians, Mariners, Padres, and Braves will all win those series?
Yeah,
I do.
I hope so, but I'm a little worried about the Padres and the Mariners. I'm a little worried.
If anybody, I'd be worried about Cleveland just because it's the Yankees, and I flipping hate Yankee Stadium.
Hey, if the short porch is going to help
in October, help
Cleveland.
It just
but they have Kermit. They have Kermit on the mound, so him and his over 30 homers that he gave up this year.
At the end of the day, if the Mariners or Guardians do not win the World Series, then it better be the Braves
or Padres
coming out of the NL. Because if the Dodgers or the friggin' Yankees or the friggin' Astros win, I'm going to have to take up drinking again. And my wife has already told me that if I do that, I'm going to get divorced. And I don't want to get divorced because I can't afford it.
At that point, we're all just going to go root for Christian Vasquez and Christian Vasquez only.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets.
Oh my God. It's not gonna that would not be fun. We have World Series, Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, Phillies, Yankees, Phillies, any of that stuff. We don't need to see any of that.
Well, unfortunately, we couldn't get Mr. Jeremy. He had some technical IT issues going on today. We'll get him back again on Sunday.
Yep. All right, guys. What else you got?
Another great week.
All right. One more thing before we wrap this thing up.
Share. Keep on sharing.
Share, all that cool stuff.
Good stuff.
Yep. All that fun stuff. On YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Everywhere else, give us 5 stars, rate us 5 stars, share us. Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Check out our Twitter link. Should be in the episode description wherever you're watching or listening. Video is on Spotify and on YouTube. So if you want to see the video and you're not on one of those 2 platforms, what are you doing? go check out one of those two platforms, so you can see the video. We do have.
And those who don't have a weak stomach, just stick to the audio.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully everything goes well, and the Astros, Yankees, Dodgers, and Phillies all get eliminated. Hopefully, we'll be back at some point, whether it's in the middle of the division series or after, to let you guys know how everything's going, and hopefully we'll all be happy and not all have to drink, and besides me, obviously. That's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in Off the Monster. We'll see you guys next time. Make sure to comment, all that good stuff, and peace out.
All right, guys, take care.